mention that.
Looks like it's going to automatically do it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Brandy. I am one of the client success specialists with Bandwango, and I have my colleague Jess Klein with me. We actually represent the Northeast, and we have two of our good friends from the Northeast region with us today. We have Callie, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications at Destination Toledo, and Laura, who is the Partner Relations Manager at Visit Canton. So we are going to be talking about restaurant weeks and months today. And this is such a cool use case for your Bandwango passes. Dining is, of course, one of the great things we want to highlight about your destinations. And we also want to have a way to bring something to your restaurant partners. So this is a great way to do that. Whether you have an existing restaurant week or month, or you're wanting to create one, we're hoping that you get some great information out of what we have to share today. And there's so many different ways that we can take a pass for a restaurant week or month also. We can do free passes that are gamified and have points or sweepstakes. We can do paid passes where your restaurants are actually making money off of this. If you have events that are associated with your restaurant week or month and you need event tickets, we can help you with that. If you want to do a savings pass, there's just so many different ways we can take it. So hopefully you'll get some inspiration. And if you have questions as we're going through the presentations today, please drop those in the chat and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. And if something does really spark your creativity and you want to learn more about your restaurant weeks and months and the capabilities, just reach out to your client success specialist, and we're happy to talk more about this with you. But to get started today, let's start with Visit Canton.
Thanks, Brandy. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Jess Klein. I'm another client success specialist with Bandwango, also working in the Northeast. I'm personally based out of Bloomington, Indiana, so not too far from our friends today. Real quick, before I introduce Laura, also wanted to say, please feel free to use the chat and or the Q&A section of the webinar. Feel free to leave questions or comments in there. We will have plenty of time at the end where I'm going to go back and address some of those if anything wasn't answered through our friends' presentations. But thank you again for being here. So Laura is one of our OG clients, we call them, from Visit Canton. We were just reminiscing that they've been with us since 2019, and we are so happy and thankful to have them on with us. They have worked on just about every type of pass build with us at this point. I think the only thing we haven't done at this time is maybe a paid tasting pass, but we've done free, gamified, savings, paid attractions, and even event ticketing. So thanks for being here today, Laura. We will kick it over to you to go through your slides and show us a little bit about your specific campaign. Thanks again.
Of course. Thank you, Jess, for the introduction. Again, I'm Laura, and I'm the Partner Relations Manager at Visit Canton. Visit Canton is the Stark County Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're located in Northeast Ohio, just an hour's drive from Cleveland, Pittsburgh, just down the road from Akron, and a couple hours from Columbus. So our pass that we did is the Savor Stark Restaurant Month. So the one we're featuring here for this webinar is this Restaurant Month Pass. And we previously had helped a local organization get their restaurant week off the ground a few years back. And so we decided to expand on that and include our entire county and to take it from 1 week to 1 month. So Savor Stark is what we came up with, and we did some specific things with how they offered or how they presented their offer. So this was kind of the look of what we did. And then moving into a bit of the pass overview here is that our goal was to drive some more traffic into our restaurant partners during a typical slow season. We probably would have picked February, but truthfully, we were just, trying to hurry and get the restaurant pass off the ground as quickly as we could. And so we went with March. We did pick a kind of a standing offer that we wanted all of our restaurants to follow a specific format. So our format was 3 for $25 or 3 for $35, but our restaurants were able to take that and kind of put their own spin on it, depending on how they wanted to use it. So you can see there under offer examples, we allowed them to be creative. So we had 37 different restaurants. They all did something a little bit different. Majority of them did a one appetizer, one entree, one dessert. But we did have some creative offers as well. So one of them there that you see is 2 glasses of wine and a deluxe charcuterie board. Another there is the appetizer, entree, and dessert. And then another was actually a dessert only restaurant. So they did 1 dozen cookies, 1 quart of ice cream, and 1 topping. So we allowed our restaurants to get creative in order to be able to fit into this if an appetizer, entree, and dessert wasn't kind of their standard menu. We allowed this to be free for our restaurant partners and free for our users. And then we did 1 grand prize. We did 1 instead of multiple because we've done multiple in the past. And honestly, what we found is people just didn't come get their prizes. So as surprising as that might seem, we did a brewery trail a few years ago called the Hall of Fame Hops Brew Trail. And we are home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that's that tie into the Hall of Fame. But we did a restaurant gift card or a brewery gift card for each winner, and they simply did not get picked up very well. So we combined all of our restaurant gift cards for this one and made that 1 grand prize entry. And 1 check-in equaled 1 entry. So the more restaurants they checked into, the more entries they had into the sweepstakes. Moving on here to what we offered our restaurants. So we like to do a lot of additional things to help our restaurants along. Restaurants traditionally are one of our partners that just kind of struggle to take up a lot of the programs that we offer. And we understand it's because typically the restaurant owner is wearing about 14 different hats and doing all of the things. So we wanted to do as much as we could to help them out with this. So we offered a PDF menu. So after they submitted their menus, you can see that in the top right there. We actually put together a printable PDF menu for them, sent it off, and they were able to print those and use those in their restaurants. We also offered upon sign up rack cards, posters, window clings, tear pads, and table tent cards. So when the restaurant signed up to be on the pass, we allowed them to select what opportunities they wanted in print, and then we went ahead and ordered those and then delivered them. Additional resources were that we had a lot of meetings and a lot of emails to them. So obviously we had a kickoff call where we reviewed the entire pass, what our goals were, what we wanted from them. And then we also continued with weekly emails to let them know, where we were with the pass, how things were going, what their check-in numbers were, any additional reminders at that time as well. We also hand delivered their redemption instructions and all of that print collateral. And we tried to encourage them to take our frontline training as well. We offer free frontline training to all of our Stark County frontline staff, volunteers, managers, and whatnot. So we offered that as well, that they could take that frontline training and make sure their staff were up to date. We also emailed social media assets and tips for sharing. So we sent all of the logos and images, anything that we could, we sent out to them and encouraged them to share on their website, on their Facebook, on any of their social media and their emails. So we gave them a lot of tips and tricks in preparation for the pass too. We also then followed up with a survey and a follow-up huddle. I will say our follow-up call at the end of it, and I can touch on this later, we actually only had 1 restaurant show up for that follow-up call. A couple called us within about 15 minutes and said, hey, we tried to get on. We stayed on, past 10 minutes or so, but they were just a little bit late. So we probably would have had about 3, but we're taking that as a big positive that out of 37 restaurants, only a couple were joining that call. Especially with the restaurant owner's time, we feel like that is actually a very positive reflection that they didn't have anything major that they didn't like. So that's kind of how we gauge that engagement with that last one there. Advertising and media. So since this was our first year doing this pass, we actually decided to put money behind it and make a good spend of it to really really encourage engagement and really push this past the finish line. So we had a lot of earned media opportunities, which the results were incredible from. We also had a lot of paid campaigns as well. So our earned media opportunities, the Cleveland channel news stations actually had us come up multiple times. New Day Cleveland actually offered one restaurant spotlight per week. So we picked 4 different restaurants from the past, and each of them got a full spotlight. They got to cook on TV, and that was really, really beneficial for them. WKYC did the same thing. And then also our local radio stations gave us a lot of free spots and opportunities, even up to a 15-second read per restaurant 4 times through the month. So our local radio stations and TV stations did a lot for us, which was wonderful. We also did some paid campaigns. We did billboards. We did a postcard mailer. We did some print ads in some magazines like Ohio Magazine, Travel Host, and Akron Life. And then we also did promo video creation. So we paid a videographer to come in, take some video at some of the restaurants, and then we were able to use that video on social and on TV and things like that to get the word out as well. Creative marketing strategies. One thing that we did do that's a little outside of the box is we put up street banners. So we have in our county, we actually have multiple cities, villages, townships, and that sort of thing. And they each have a little bit of their own flavor. But we actually printed across the street banners that were hung in Canton and in the city of Massillon as well. And those definitely got some attention. We actually heard from the people of Massillon. They're not used to seeing our name of Visit Canton on things. So there was actually quite a lot of buzz about like, well, what's that sign doing here? So I actually think that alone created a lot of traffic from those. We also have some touchscreen boards and a whole network of those around the county. We utilized those. And then we also utilized our in-house advertising on our website. And I can tell you that just after all of these things that we pushed through, our click-through rates for our advertising that's on our website was actually up 133% year over year. So these things definitely worked for us and drove a lot of people to our website. So here are the official results. So we had 3,000 past signups. And of those past signups, then there were 1,198 menu redemptions. So when we used this pass, we actually did a check-in and we did the featured menu. So people were able to come in and they were able to check in, but they were also able to go a step further, see the featured menu item, and actually click through that they redeemed that featured menu item. Now, technically, to win the prize, all they had to do was check in. So they just needed to visit the restaurant. If they didn't love what the restaurant was offering for their menu item, they didn't, but we were able to capture both data items there on the menu redemption and the check-in. The top restaurants, you have a list there, but 59 was the top number of check-ins, and that was the Don Shula's American Kitchen. And I can tell you that Don Shula's actually did a phenomenal job of taking what we sent them ahead of time and sharing it. So they actually put a pop-up on their website. So when you typed in Don Shula's American Kitchen, went to their website, a pop-up box came up and said, it's Savor Stark Restaurant Month, and it gave their menu. So I do think that what they did on their social media and their website definitely drove more people to their site versus the others. The other ones all came in just below them. You can see there on that graph, the pie chart actually, that Don Shula's had that large number, but all of the restaurants after them really came in very close in the 30s and 40s. And also remember too, that many of our restaurants actually limited their offer to be only available during, Monday through Thursday or dinner only. So some of those, with it just being 1 month, they definitely had multiple check-ins every single day that they offered it. Website traffic is really wonderful. This is where we definitely saw the impact from some of our paid opportunities that we took part in. Our landing page for Savor Stark had 21,000 views. And then you can see all of the referrals there on where they came from. Something that we love is obviously the average time that was spent on the page. So you can see there, other than the Facebook links, most of those were over a minute. some of them approaching 2 minutes. So that 2-minute mark, obviously, we all know is quite a bit of time on the internet on one page without leaving. So we were really happy with the outcomes there. We also did the video and social campaigns as well. So you can see those numbers there on those impressions and views. The paid video on Google had 124,000 views. On Facebook, it had 67,000 views. So those things were definitely working for us, even though those people maybe didn't stay on the page as long. They still, they still came over from the video they were seeing. And then some QR code performance there. This one was really interesting because the QR code scans, the list went on and on and on from here. This is just a snippet of it. But you can see North Canton is actually just up the street from us. But Columbus and Cleveland came in right after that. And then Doylestown is also an Ohio town. But New York had, 5.47% of the QR code clicks. And then you can see there's Texas, and there's some more Ohio towns, and then Washington, D.C. at the end. So we were really happy to see where those QR codes were scanned. I'm seeing just a couple questions here. So what were on our tear pad? So our tear pad image was basically, and I can pull that up and send it over as well. But our tear pad was pictures of food, the logo, and then a QR code. So we gave those tear pads out to all of the restaurants, but used them in various places as well in our welcome centers, so that people could just scan the QR code and get right to the sign up for the pass. For the restaurant check-ins, it was not an honor system. Now, technically, there are probably a lot of people who use the pass who didn't necessarily go all the way through the system of, clicking check-in and verifying it. But on the Bandwango pass, there was actually an ability to check in, and then there was the ability to redeem the menu. So they were two separate buttons. And then check-ins were done by PIN code. So each restaurant had a PIN code, and they were given that so that the servers could actually give it to the diners as they asked for it to check in. Ideas for the future. So some of the things that we, are looking forward to in the next year is giving our restaurants ideas to engage with those Save or Start participants beyond them just coming to check in once. Most of our restaurants that filled out our survey did say that they saw people who had never been to their restaurant before. So this was a lot of new participants, coming in to dine with them. So one of the things that we actually got asked by a restaurant was, well, can I give them a coupon, or can I give them something so that they can come back and see us again? And we thought that's actually a fantastic idea. That's a wonderful way to engage with those people and turn them into regulars, is to offer a coupon or offer something so that they come back. And then also just encouraging more frontline training. Some of our restaurants didn't have their staff up to speed enough right at the beginning. So it was a little bit of a bumpy road at first. And then as far as our team, creating some sort of check-in competition for the restaurants in order to push them to push this program as well. Obviously, we saw from our restaurants that were promoting it themselves on their own social networks and on their own website. They were the ones who saw the most check-ins. So engaging them into a little friendly competition, we think would be a great idea for the future. Also, just adding some more influencer marketing options and considering a different deal type. So we did that 3 for $25 or $35, deciding whether we're going to change that up, let it be up to them, or come up with a different format for them to use. Is our frontline training an in-person training only? So we actually kind of do both. So we run our own in-person trainings where we open them up to our volunteers, our frontline staff, but we also do it in-house, and we can also do it on Zoom. So if a restaurant contacts us or a museum contacts us and would like to do a one-on-one training, we'll do that for them in whichever format works for them. All right, that is my last slide. I'm not sure if there are any other questions, or if Jess, you would like to transition over to Callie.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for posting those questions. We'll keep monitoring those if you think of something new. Again, we'll have time at the end to circle back to anything we might need to. I think that's all for you for now. You get to take a break, Laura.
Thank
And
you.
then Brandy, would you like to introduce our next speaker?
Yes. So Destination Toledo was one of the first ones I thought of when we were talking about restaurant weeks and months. This is one that we have done for a couple years now, and it actually dates back further than that. I know Callie is going to share more about that. But this is a pass that involves another person. There is a third party community organization that works in conjunction with Destination Toledo to make this pass. So this makes it unique in that way. And I mean, Callie, I just remember you texting me the night of the launch party this year, and I was just, whoa. I mean, you told me that launch party was a big deal, but when I saw those pictures, I was just like, oh my goodness. I'm going to Toledo next year for Restaurant Week for sure. So it was a no-brainer inviting you to be a part of this today. So thank you so much for being here and sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that really kind introduction, Brandy. I'm Callie Herring. I'm the Director of Marketing Communications for Destination Toledo, and I'm going to tell you guys about Restaurant Week Toledo. So first, a little bit about Toledo in general. If you're not familiar, we are in Northwest Ohio, so other side of the state from Canton. We're the fourth largest city in Ohio. So we are oftentimes overlooked for what we call the 3 C's, which is Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. But we are right there in fourth. But we are the largest city in Northwest Ohio as well. We get about 16 million visitors a year, just for context. Our top attractions are really a lot of times what we're known for: the Toledo Mud Hens, Toledo Zoo, Toledo Museum of Art. We have a really incredible Metro Park system, and we also have a really great, diverse local dining scene. So obviously that made a lot of sense for us to be involved in Restaurant Week Toledo, which, as Brandy talked about, is one of the passports that we do, but we do others as well. I just wanted to highlight some of the other passports we also do with Bandwango. We have a 419 Ale Trail passport. 419 is our area code for, as you can see in the title of a lot of our passes. That goes throughout many counties all throughout Northwest Ohio. I think like 8 or 9 counties now. We have Toledo Savings Pass, which we just launched last week on 419 Day, which is April 19th. And that is our first paid pass that we're doing, where it is savings that you can get, and then the proceeds go back to a nonprofit. So we are partaking in that newer offering from Bandwango. And then Coffee Quest 419 kind of has a similar but different story to Toledo, which I'm going to talk more about, in that Coffee Quest started off as someone else's, and then we came into the fold. Basically, it was started by our coffee shops, and then we're going to be taking it over this year and launching it in the fall. So we're really excited to take that one digital as well. So on to Restaurant Week. As Brandy mentioned, we do this one in a little bit of a non-traditional way because it's not truly our initiative. Restaurant Week has been going on for the past 14 years. In Toledo, it started off very small, like 10 local restaurants. And this year, there were 47 participating restaurants. All of the participating restaurants have to be locally owned. They don't allow chains. They don't allow, and we really try to keep it like locally owned. Don't allow franchises if at all possible, and keep it prioritized on those locally owned original restaurants. So we partner with Leadership Toledo. Leadership Toledo runs this initiative as one of their top fundraisers for their organization. They're a nonprofit organization that creates leadership programs in our community for adults and youth programs as well. So the adult programs often have individuals like myself. I've gone through that program, and you pay to be a part of that, but all of their youth programs are free to the students that participate, and they're for a lot of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. But they obviously need to have a way to fund those. So they have Restaurant Week Toledo as one of their main fundraisers, and in order to participate in that, the restaurants have to pay to participate. They provide gift cards as well, which are used for giveaways, which I'm going to talk about as well. And then they actually give a portion of their proceeds from the entire week to Leadership Toledo. So they have to abide by all of those in order to participate. And for some restaurants, it doesn't make sense, but for the ones who it does make sense for and have continued to do this year after year, they repeatedly have said this is one of the busiest weeks they have all year in their restaurants, especially on the weekend of restaurant week. So this took place this year, end of February 26th through March 3rd. It always happens right around that bridge week between the 2 months. So as Laura said earlier, it's great to get traffic in those slower restaurant months. And we know that they really appreciate it. So it has always taken place around that time of year. This is the 14th year for the initiative as a whole, but the 3rd year we did the digital passport. And we have seen year-over-year growth with check-ins and participation and use of that. And I think also the community use of our other passports like the 419 Ale Trail, people have become more and more familiar with the platform over the years and kind of how to utilize it, become more comfortable with it, and become, they come to expect us to be a part of those initiatives. So we're seeing that growth year after year. The passport, we do special menus through the passport. There are Restaurant Week Toledo menus that are created by each restaurant. They have to have some sort of special menu for the week, but they can do whatever they want with that. So some of them do, maybe a discount on something that is a really popular item for them. Some of them choose it as an opportunity to do like a 3-course meal offering. It just kind of depends, and it's totally up to them, but it does also provide them an opportunity to almost kind of have that prefix menu. So they're, with the increased traffic, they know what to order. They know that those are usually going to be the most popular things that are ordered off the menu. But folks don't have to order off the Restaurant Week Toledo menu in order to benefit Leadership Toledo. It's all proceeds besides alcohol are eligible for a portion of that to go back to Leadership Toledo. So it is a big commitment for the restaurants, but it is also extremely beneficial to the program, and a lot of them see that return enough to participate every year. There usually are some changes, but there are people who have participated in it from the very beginning. So I know they've seen a lot of success. It used to be done obviously on a paper passport. So the data on that was a little not as clear in years past, but when we turned it over to the digital pass, Leadership Toledo, the entity that runs it, was extremely pleased with how much return and how much participation they got. And like I said, we've seen that increase year after year. For this year, we had about 1,300 pass signups, 2,400 pass or restaurant check-ins, and then we also did bonus check-ins, which was a new item or new offering we did this year as part of the program. Let me get that slide, sorry. So like I said, we did bonus check-ins this year. We wanted to try something different in order to increase traffic earlier in the week. Usually Friday and Saturday are completely full house days for the restaurants that participate. But we wanted to have some incentive for that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get people out. Not have them necessarily always wait till the weekend to participate in Restaurant Week Toledo. So we did, we set up themed days for the earlier days in the week, and then kind of made it so every participating restaurant had at least one bonus day they were participating. So we did sips and sweets, where we got we pulled together all of the coffee shops and the bakeries and places that were sips and sweets focused. They were on Tuesday. That was their bonus check-in day, where if people went there on that day, they could get additional points on top of their check-in points. Wednesday, we did Wanderlust Wednesday, which was focused on all the international cuisine, which we had great success with and had an opportunity to kind of showcase them on their own, which was great. And then we use Thursday for It's a Date Thursday, encouraging people to make a lunch date, make a date with their, significant other, whoever that they wanted to celebrate Restaurant Week with. That was focused on Thursday. We didn't do anything on Monday because we usually see a pretty good boom in check-ins because people are all excited for Restaurant Week. And then obviously Friday, Saturday didn't need that as much help. So the other new thing that we did this year was doing a temporary check-in for the kickoff party, which I have a slide on specifically with a picture, this picture that I texted Brandy in there. That was something new that we did. We have always been obviously with our participation in this, we are a major sponsor of Restaurant Week. We sponsor the kickoff party and also the passport. So we have a presence at the kickoff party, and we had staff stationed at the front door, and we were walking around, making sure people knew that they could sign up for the passport, making sure they knew how to check in, and letting them know that they could get bonus points for checking in at the kickoff party. So this year for the kickoff party, I think I had those on the next slide, but we had 148 people sign up the day of the kickoff party, and then 68 people took advantage of that bonus check-in. So we were really pleased with that because it was more people. There's also hundreds of people there, and they're very excited to participate in it. And so it's kind of hard to wrangle them into being like, okay, before you check in, before you check your coat, all of these things, sign up for your passport. So I think we learned a little bit this year of where we want to be maybe further into the event rather than right at the door. But we still thought it was really successful. And then we also, with the mobile passport, like I said, the points are all going towards sweepstakes. So all the participating restaurants provide gift cards to Leadership Toledo, and then they pool those together for a $50 drawing, a $150 drawing, and a $250 drawing. And we've seen that increase too over the years. We actually saw, because of the different structure this year, we did it where they could enter the drawings as many times as possible. So we saw a lot of people hold on to their points and then put in for the $250 giveaway. So it's a lot more even keel where you had, we had 189 people eligible to win the $50 giveaway, 100 people eligible to win the $150, and then 150 people eligible to win the $250. So we were really pleased with that as well. And you can see with the graphics here, there's a lot of digital graphics and promotions that are or marketing materials that are put together for this too. The Leadership Toledo actually partners with a local marketing agency, and as part of their sponsorship and support of the event, they donate design work and services for the website and also the graphics for the event. So that goes into not only the social media graphics and the website graphics and all of that, but also the promotional materials that the restaurants get. They get printed menus, they get promo cards, there are posters, things like that. And those are distributed well in advance of Restaurant Week to get everybody excited. And then obviously the menus as well. And again, all the printed materials are donated by a local printer, and that is part of their sponsorship and support of the event as well. So just kind of also a good example of a different way to think of how to fund some of these elements. I know this is kind of a non-traditional in that it's not only ours. So there's some different things at play, but still good ideas. So the kickoff party, as I mentioned before, that's been a very popular event that takes place every year. They do that the week before Restaurant Week Toledo to get everybody excited. There's usually a dozen or so restaurants that participate in that. And then it's also a cool opportunity for other restaurants like breweries or other places like breweries to participate, because the proceeds can't include proceeds from alcohol. So there's not really incentive for a lot of the breweries that don't serve food they wouldn't participate in the program. But they can participate in the kickoff party. So that is another way that they can kind of be part of it without necessarily getting those check-in benefits and everything. So the kickoff party, it's always kind of like the social event of the season sort of thing. And this year, tickets actually sold out in 5 hours, which was insane. They do hundreds of tickets that they put on sale. And then there's also a certain amount of tickets that go to all of the different sponsors that participate, things like that. But it is a hot ticket item. Every year I have people who text me and say, hey, do you guys have extra tickets? Hey, do you have anybody who's not going? And we actually, this year, it was kind of an interesting occurrence. We had a newer restaurant in town that was going to be participating in Restaurant Week, and their ownership is out. They have members of their corporate marketing team aren't in town. They scheduled this big opening ribbon cutting, and as soon as I got the invite for it, I said, you guys have to move your date. It's the same date and time as the kickoff party. No one's going to go that you want to be there. And they said, oh my God, thank you so much. And so they ended up shifting theirs to the following week to be during Restaurant Week. So it was a cool way for them to participate in it and have their, big exclusive media kickoff event and still celebrate Restaurant Week, and not lose out on all those great attendees that were at the kickoff party. So like I said, we had 148 people who signed up for the passport in person at the event. And then they also, we had 68 of those people did the check-in. So the goal for next year will be to better communicate, get more people to actually take part in that bonus check-in too, if we continue to do that. I really recommend doing a kickoff party if you can. Obviously, this is not something. It's easy for me to say that because we don't actually plan this party. Leadership Toledo does. Although I do help set up for it every single year. So all the linens and signs were, hung by me and their very small but mighty team. So it is definitely a great opportunity to get everyone excited, though, and help educate them because it captures everybody in person to be able to ask questions, try some of the sampling cuisine that they can check out later in the week, maybe especially too if there's cuisine that they don't normally partake in. Maybe they've never tried Indian food before, but they go and check out that restaurant at the kickoff party and then really enjoy it. Then they're more likely to go in next week during Restaurant Week as well. So that's kind of all I have. I didn't have a lot on my specific reporting, but if anybody has questions about that, I can dive into more numbers or anything else. I think I covered everything, but Brandy, if there's anything I forgot, let me know.
Yeah, no, you did great. And Callie's being a little humble about the launch parties. I know Toledo is very big on launch parties as a whole. There's another social event of the year for 419 Ale Trail with that launch party. So I know she's doing her work on the launch party side.
We tried.
But we did have a couple questions come through. Thanks, Jess, for answering these within the chat. I'll just kind of throw these out here for the good of the group. We had a question related to who is gathering the information from the restaurants. Is destinations getting the businesses to participate, or is Bandwango doing that? So you do have options on this. If our partner, if the destination wants to collect that information, that's totally fine. If you want us to do the onboarding, you can supply that list of businesses and that contact information to us, and we can do that onboarding for you. We also have options when it comes to the check-ins. I know we had a couple other questions about that. So the check-ins can be with that 4-digit PIN code, or we can do GPS check-in. So again, more options for you on how we can customize these passes to make the most sense for you. And if anybody has other questions, please drop them in the chat and we will make sure to answer those.
Yeah, while we're waiting to see if we get any other questions, I had one for both of you. In looking back as you were working on prepping for this and looking at some of your numbers, did you get any standout feedback from either one of the restaurants or a pass holder? Laura, you said one thing, I think, where, they started to see some customers that they had never seen before, but was there any special sort of one-off anecdotal things that you were told that showed some of the impact of a pass?
Honestly, I wish I could say so, but truthfully, we did not get a ton of feedback from our restaurants, even though we've basically been begging for it. So we did a survey. Obviously we had 37 restaurants, which we were incredibly pleased with that number. Like for the first year, we used a lot of we pushed a lot of our local restaurants right away that they should be doing it. But we even had restaurants join who were, brand new, just opened, and things like that. We did in our survey responses, basically the general feeling was it went well. We had new people, things were good. There weren't too many standout comments. There were a couple about maybe shortening it. I was surprised that someone did ask for a week because we had basically been doing a week-long one through a different organization partnership in the previous years. But obviously the numbers were so much smaller on that one because it was the week. I'm interested to hear what Callie has to say about how that week works for them, simply because we wanted to extend it to stretch it along the entire county and give people time to go to those. So like I said, there were 2 restaurants who basically said that after the second week, things kind of lost their luster and they saw their check-ins go down. And then the other one was basically just hoping that 1 week would maybe be a bigger boom for, oh, we only have 1 week, we got to go now. But, we kind of toyed with that internally too, is do we extend it? Do we keep it shorter? So that's probably something we'll toy with in the future too.
That's great feedback. Thank you. Anything to add, Kaylee?
Yeah. I think a lot of the cool opportunities and unique things that have come out of having the passport for Restaurant Week, which have been really fun, is the engagement with like local influencers and local media, to be able to participate in it as well and work it into their content that they're creating. And a lot of them are doing that out of partnership with Leadership Toledo ahead of time, where there are like some certain like kind of news shows. There's 4-1 Nosh, which is kind of a web show, and then in affiliation with one of the news channels, there's a Dine in the 419. We're really fond of using the 419 for everything around here, if you haven't gathered. But those kind of touched in more on the dining experiences as a way that you could play those up or check those out, like dining experiences out. But the social influencers and the people who are focused more on the social content seem to attract more to promoting the digital pass, which was a cool opportunity. We've had similar conversations about the length. We don't necessarily have as much control over that. I think from the perspective of attracting visitors, we'd love for it to be a little bit longer at some point. So we have a little bit more of a wider window for visitors to come in, because it is really heavily locally engaged, although we do get a lot of people from a little bit outside the Toledo DMA that come in for Restaurant Week. But the restaurants really love that they can plan for it to be a really crazy week. They can see a really big spike, and have that kind of like reliably high level week for them. I think if it was any longer, they would have a hard time sustaining that volume. And we don't know if the volume would be the same if it was longer. We've never actually tried the longer for Restaurant Week, to my knowledge. So.
Okay, thank you. Haven't seen any other new questions come in, so I'll throw one more out there. Forgive me if anyone mentioned it already, but I wanted to touch on messaging capabilities and how and if they played into these restaurant promotions. For those of us who maybe are new or still learning some of the capabilities that we have here at Bandwango, we can send out messages on your behalf through passes. They can be sent out as emails, text messages, or in feed, which actually display in the passes themselves. There's a couple different ways we can set them up to sort of trigger to send to the pass holders. But did either of you use any specific messaging strategy, or in looking back, is there an idea that came to you that you want to use next time?
Yeah, we actually did use the text message strategy. So what we did have was like 1,000 marketing opt-ins from the previous Restaurant Week that we pulled in. So when we first launched it, we emailed out to them. But then we also used that text message option to send a kind of like a launch hey, today's the day, it's the first day of restaurant month, get out there and use their pass. So through Bandwango, we were able to schedule that text to go out the day that the Savor Stark Restaurant Month started. And then we included in there a link that would take them directly to either the pass they already had signed up for, or they would be triggered to sign up for it through that link. Then we also sent another one to those pass holders about 9 days before the end of the pass. So ours ran for 30 days. So that 9 days before caught the last 2 weekends. And it was just a reminder of, hey, make sure you go check in, use your pass. You've only got this many days left. So that's what we did this time. I didn't actually specifically look into, how many check-ins came right after those text messages. But I know for me, when I got it, it was actually a really good reminder too. It popped up for me, and I was kind of in the middle of my workday. I think it was like at 2:00 on a Thursday or Friday. We sent the one. And I know for me personally, it definitely got me thinking. It switched my gears from what I was focused on to, oh, wait a minute, that is going on. So hopefully it worked for everyone else as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you're listening to and you're curious about exactly how that can be set up or how it can be used, you can just reach out to your success specialist and they'll definitely be happy to walk you through. Kaylee, anything with messaging?
We did 3 different opportunities where we sent out messages. We did one to say, hey, happy restaurant week. Things have started at the very beginning. And actually, I think that, a few days before we had sent out one around the kickoff party to invite people to sign up, to the pass holders who had signed up previously. We also sent out a text message once we approached those bonus days, and we said, hey, there's like opportunities for bonus points. Head to your into your pass for more details. And then we did an in-pass feed message that kind of broke down those details a little bit more rather than putting it all in a text. And then we did kind of a wrap up like, hey, tomorrow's last day for check-ins. Make sure you also redeem your points for your prize giveaways, things like that. So we definitely found those helpful, especially because we find that not everybody participates in the pass, obviously, that participates in Restaurant Week Toledo, because you don't have to. It's kind of an extra add-on. So staying engaged with them throughout the week was good for us to kind of keep on it and keep it top of mind for them, for sure.
Yeah, they're a great re-engagement tool, exactly. We did have a couple questions come in. Thanks, Connor. So I'll just read off and then let you all answer how you see best. How do you all get local media involved? We hear back from them that they do not want to help because these restaurants are some of the businesses that they're trying to sell ad space to. Secondly, because we cannot spend money locally for advertising, so it has to be in kind. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can kind of give Toledo's perspective. There's a lot of engagement, especially from like I said, the entities or the channels that are focused specifically on food. And a lot of times what they'll do is special tastings at the restaurants that are going to be participating, and they'll do some in-restaurant segments. So usually the restaurants are really excited to participate in that because it's earned media for them. They're just offering advertising, and a lot of that partnership for the content comes out of the entity and like Leadership Toledo partnering with that media partner. So a lot of that has been kind of sponsored. They do some in-kind sponsorship for that. And then I know too that a lot of the restaurants have connected with like social influencers as well to give them some of the offerings ahead of time as well. And a lot of that has just been like individual people who are foodie focused, and the restaurants want to promote themselves, and then they'll give them, the menu items is a way to give that back and forth. So I think the exchange of food has been the primary currency a lot of times. But at least in our community, this is really like a very like rah, we love Toledo type of time of year. So I think most people are really excited to be a part of that. And because the entity this is fundraising for Leadership Toledo is very focused on community and leadership and connection to the community, it fits a lot of times with the local business's mission as well, to engage with not only Restaurant Week, but Leadership Toledo.
Yeah, and ours is a little bit different in that this wasn't like a partnership with an organization that was a fundraiser. And ours was, free for restaurants, free for people to join, and all that sort of thing. So we kind of did, kind of go out of our way to make sure we were spending dollars marketing this year. Like I said, though, that is not the typical for a lot of the passes that we do to put that much behind it. As far as local media goes, though, I will say that the majority of ours that we got in kind, they actually came to us after we sent our original press release out. So we do, I would say that we do try to keep very strong relationships with our media partners. So throughout the year, we have different events where we invite all of our media partners from the region to come. It might be a free dinner or a free lunch. We might do that we typically always do that in conjunction with our partners. So we might do almost like a local, kind of like a destination trade show where we invite in the media, we invite in event planners, we invite our tourism partners in, and then they can display and showcase everything that they have. So we kind of offer a lot of partnership bonuses and perks essentially to those media partners so that they feel really engaged with us. And I think that's probably what we're seeing from it, is that we just have good relationships with them. And so then that kind of, it turns the relationship to the other way. So when we first sent that press release, our local newspaper immediately put it out. Within the next day, they put a story up. And then within the next couple of days, we actually heard from WKYC and Fox 8 in Cleveland. And both of them just offered those opportunities to us. So they also then, the shows that they were offering, it's not the shows that, it wasn't like the nightly news. It's like their daytime programming, their spotlight features on restaurants. So it's information and partners that they're covering anyway. They're already going out into the community and doing a spotlight on this or that. So it's actually for them extra content without them having to do the work to go get it. That's what that was. Also with our local radio stations, similar to that is that, they reached out to us or we reached out to them, but also we offered them gift cards. So when we had all of our restaurants sign up, one of the things we did ask from them was if they could provide 2 $25 gift cards. So one was for the prize, and then one was for any giveaways that we did. So we split those up and we gave a lot of those gift cards away to the radio stations so that they could use it as a bonus to offer their listeners, do some radio contests with those.
Thank you, Laura. And yeah, I just have to echo what you say. I think from journalists, reporters are always looking for content for good stories, happy stories, ways to highlight the community. So the earned media is important with any of your passes. Always get those press releases out, and we'll even supply you with a template for a press release that you can use kind of as a place to start. And then you can plug in your information about your pass and get that out to your local media. So we'll help you in that way as well, for sure. Jess, I don't see any other questions in chat right now. Do you have another question you want to throw out there?
Nope, that's it for me.
I just wanted to add one more thing that I thought was another fun thing that Leadership Toledo does when they run the Restaurant Week social. They have dedicated social pages for Restaurant Week Toledo and are very engaged throughout the week with comments, answering questions, all of that. But they also do a photo contest on their social media, really encouraging people to participate in that. And then they do gift card giveaways. So that's something that they do with their gift cards that they collect from the restaurants, is like a photo contest giveaway. And that also really helps the partners out and us out, because it allows us to have some of that user generated content from the different locations that then we can share. So from us, there's 47 restaurants involved. It's really hard for us to get everywhere. So encouraging that user generated content in the form of a giveaway is always a great idea too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Laura, any other parting words?
I don't think so. I just, I'm excited to be here with another Ohio CVB, and it was great to provide all of this information. I hope it was helpful. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. We're really representing today, Laura.
You sure are.
Ohio
the heart of it all.
Oh, wait.
But thank you all for joining us. The restaurant weeks and the restaurant months, it's a really cool way to use your passes. If it's something you're interested in, definitely reach out to your client success specialist. Don't forget too, we can also build in ad space into these passes as well. So if you want to do it and then you need to bring in a sponsor to help you do it, you can sell that space, you keep that money, we build that into the pass for you. So just keep that in mind as well. And there's so many different options for ways that we can take this. We are excited to talk with you and see where we're going to be doing our next restaurant week or month. So with that, everybody have a wonderful day today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.